as a recovering people pleaser, I love this topic. And so first I want us to just ground in the breath, because we're going to uncover why people pleasing is fear, right? And y'all know my book, most of y'all know my book, Let Your Fears Make You Fierce, How to Turn Common Obstacles into Seeds of Growth. Is really about looking at fear as your friend and really having a conversation with fear and saying, okay, why are you here and why are you showing up? So once we see people pleasing as fear, we're then able to create those healthy boundaries. All right, so let's get started with the breath. Take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh it out. Deep inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh it out. Last inhale, hold the breath. And slowly sigh it out. Slowly blink your eyes open. Whenever you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, just remember to go back to the breath. Go back to the breath to center, to ground you, and to bring you back to who you truly are. And so let's get into, why we people please. A lot of people say, oh, I'm just a nice person. But when you really unpack people pleasing as fear, and we're going to talk about the 4 fears you might have when you're people pleasing, to see which ones you identify as, right? So when you look at people pleasing as fear, the first type of fear you could be experiencing is fear of rejection. You're like, okay, I'm going to do this thing because if I don't, I'm not going to get to be in this group. Say, for instance, I want to be in this awesome new women's group that's in Atlanta. And they're like, well, I need you to do this thing. And I don't want to do it. But I might do it because I might feel like, oh, if I don't do it, then I'm not going to get in this group. And I really want to get in this group. So right now, I'm not setting a healthy boundary of, no, I can't do this, but I still want to be in your group. I'm basically, as Brendan said, being my fake self, because the real is like, I don't want to do it. And I should be able to communicate that. But because I'm afraid of rejection, I don't do it. I don't tell them how I feel, and I just do it anyway. So what happens when you succumb to your fears and you are your fake self and you just do it anyway, is that when you're in this situation, you might be asked more and more to do things that you don't want to do. And because you haven't set a boundary of like, hey, some things I'll do, some things I want, people feel fine with asking you whatever they want, and they know you're just going to do it, right? And so you start feeling used and neglected and misunderstood, when really you just failed to set the healthy boundary in the first place. And you failed to set the healthy boundary, not because you didn't want to, but because you had a fear of rejection. Right? So write that down, fear of rejection, and people pleasing is fear. So Shonda Rhimes wrote this book called The Year of Yes. And I said, this year was going to be my year of no. Well, I actually got the courage to say no, because I realized that saying yes all the time is fear, wanting to make people happy. And it stemmed from childhood. As a young girl, I always felt like if I didn't do something right, that, my parents would take their love away and I wouldn't be loved, or I would be punished, right? And getting those Southern whoopings and the punishment made me always feel like I had to be perfect. I couldn't do anything wrong. I couldn't really express. If I didn't want to do something, I had no choice. I had to do it anyway. So I had to reparent myself and unlearn those habits of people pleasing to be loved. And you might feel like you're in the same position. So right now with that, I want you to think about, is there any situation in your life? And I want you to break out the notes in your phone or break out your journal. And I want you to write down, was there any time in your life that you did something because you feared rejection, right? Because you feared rejection, or even abandonment. You feel like, okay, I'm in this relationship and I don't want to do this thing, but if I don't do this thing, then my significant other or my partner is going to leave me, right? You feel like, well, if I don't do whatever they want, they're going to leave me. And so we are in these toxic relationships because we don't want to be alone. But the first person you abandon when you don't set healthy boundaries is yourself. So you're actually pleasing others to the detriment of yourself. And this affirmation helped me out. So write down this affirmation as well. I will not love others to the detriment of myself. I repeated this affirmation so many times because it reminded me that you can't truly love others to the detriment of yourself. So I cannot love others to the detriment of myself, which means I can't say yes to a person, someone outside of myself, until I say yes to myself and make sure it aligns with every cell in my body. When I do something that aligns, it feels good, they feel good. When you do something that doesn't align, you might do it and they might be like, are you okay? Is everything okay? Is everything all right? And what happened is that they can feel, especially if you're empathic. Some people can't, they're so busy doing the thing, they can't, they're just like in the mix. And so everyone doesn't know. But some people can actually feel that your energy is off, or you are vibrating at a lower frequency, you're not happy, and you might not be able to identify why. But you know, if you said yes to something that you didn't want to do, that is why your energy is low. You can't function at your highest, your greatest, your best self if you're constantly doing things that are out of alignment with your core. And what you have to do is set a healthy boundary. So if you find out, you know what, yeah, I feel rejection or I feel abandonment in this situation, Koya, what can I do? What can I do? Because I want to get out. I'll say the first thing you want to do is be honest with yourself. Just journal, write down, I fear, and just write it out. I fear this person is going to leave me. I feel this group is going to reject me, and then I won't have any friends. I feel like, I'm going to lose my partner and I'll be single for the rest of my life. Like whatever your fear, just write about it. Just write the whole scenario. Just get it out of your system, right? Get it down on paper. It's scientifically proven when you write down how you feel, you release that energy of fear from your body. Now, there's a lot of things that I share with you all in the book. If you don't have a copy, just DM me. I'll make sure you get a free digital copy. But there's a lot of ways to release. But my favorite way most of us have access to is breath work and also writing. So you energetically breathe it out, like we did at the beginning of class, and just start writing, start journaling. Okay, this is what I fear. This is what, and then you look at a scenario, you create a scenario. If I tell the truth, then I set myself free. So write that down. If I tell the truth, then I set myself free, right? So what happens when we tell the truth, we are no longer functioning at that lower vibration. So we feel good. We feel like, man, I might be not getting that group. I might not have that partner, but I feel liberated. I feel good. I feel aligned. And that's what happens when we really are honest with ourselves and we're living in alignment with our purpose. And then if we're not, we can have all the things in the world, all the good things in the world, and still not be happy. You've heard it. Oh, this person is a millionaire and they committed suicide or this and that. You feel like, oh, this person was married and had kids. Why did they? And the chances are that they weren't truly happy because they were living in alignment with their purpose. They weren't living in alignment with what they wanted. They all of a sudden became a slave to their partner, a slave to media, a slave to their children, and they forgot how to really stand up for themselves, right? And so fear of abandonment and rejection, that is the first fear, and why we were people pleasers and don't set healthy boundaries. So setting those healthy boundaries, which we already had a setting healthy boundaries. We talked about setting healthy boundaries before. So make sure you resort back to that and say, okay, I'm going to basically say, you know what? I am going to set healthy boundaries no matter what. It is a non-negotiable. You're going to do it, period.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember, you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.